The morning after the off-cycle elections in Imo, Kogi and Bayelsa states, and we are back monitoring developments closely with collation ongoing in Owerri and expected to commence by 10 a.m. in both Bayelsa and Kogi states. Good morning, everyone. I am Nifemi Oguntoye, and we are back. Like they say, election is a process. We've seen the campaigns, the voting, the actual voting yesterday, and collation indeed kick-started in Owerri a few minutes past 2 in the morning, where we've seen results from 20 out of the 27 local government areas collated so far in the southeastern state. The process was earlier interrupted by the state chairman of the Labour Party, who insisted that the party has a petition to present on the results the commission is about to collate. His request was then turned down by the returning officer, Professor Abayomi Sunday Fashino, who's Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Ekiti. He mentioned that his mandate is to preside over the collation exercise and that the Labour Party's petition should be presented to the appropriate quarters. We saw some drama a few hours ago when the exercise was briefly disrupted by the aggrieved Labour Party members who contested the process and were demanding that it be stepped down. The Labour Party chairman was later dragged out of the centre by security operatives. Very interesting development coming from the collation center in Imo State, where we already have results of 20 local government areas out of 27. In Bayelsa State, some updates coming from there. INEC says collation of results in the governorship election will begin 10 a.m. today. The returning officer, Professor Farouk Kuta, made the announcement at the opening of the collation center in Yenagoa. He cited the arrival of election results from only 1 out of the 8 local government areas, as well as the absence of key stakeholders such as political party agents, as some of the reasons for the decision. In Kogi State, the Independent National Electoral Commission, we understand, has suspended election in 9 wards of Ogori Mangogo local government area due to reported incidences of electoral malpractices, particularly the incident of result sheets completed before voting. Recall that we spoke with one of the SDP candidates yesterday, where he made these allegations and also shared some receipts, videos out there showing that in some polling units in that part of the country, the result sheets were allegedly already filled before, voting itself. So the electoral umpire says the incidents in other local government areas in Adavi, in Ajaokuta, Okehi and Okene are being thoroughly investigated, and that we expect to hear from INEC with its outcome in 24 hours. Voters in Kogi have now been assured by the National Commissioner and the Member Information and Voter Education Committee, Mohammed Haruna, that their votes will be protected and their wishes respected. I'm sure that stakeholders are really counting on this and looking forward to how it pans out. Already one of the candidates is calling for cancellation of elections in 4 local government areas of that state. We're also hearing that the Independent National Electoral Commission has confirmed the release of the supervisory presiding officer that was abducted on election eve at the Amasoma Jetty. That was on Friday. In a statement signed by the HOD Voter Education and Publicity, Wilfred Ifoga, INEC stated that the officer was released unhurt by the hoodlums and has resumed her duties at the INEC headquarters in Yenagoa. The personnel before her abduction was assigned to registration area 06, Osioma in Sagbama local government area. We've been following closely how the returning officer seemed to have let the collation of election results in Imo State. Quite interesting development as we see results coming trickling in from all of the local government areas. One peculiar thing is that each of these results seem to have cancellations due to overvoting. There are some cases of disruptions, materials not deployed, and also non-usage of the BVAS machines given by the presiding officers as reasons why results were cancelled in some cases. And it's also quite interesting to note that even though some of these things, were talked about before the election as to, we understand what the Electoral Act of 2022 is and an INEC guideline as regards election, but even in November 2023, we are still talking about disruptions, materials not being deployed, and also non-usage of BVAS. An overall overview of what we monitored yesterday, to an extent, early arrival of materials and INEC officials in quite a number of the polling units that we reported from. And also we saw a heavy presence of security in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo State. Many of the candidates also did give INEC some kudos as regards its conduct in this election. We heard from the Bayelsa State governor and his counterpart in Imo State, who gave INEC a pass mark and were quite convinced that the process, kick-started quite well. We'll wait to see what their remarks will be now that collation has begun in earnest, particularly in Imo State, and we expect collation to also kickstart in Kogi as well as Bayelsa State. All right, earlier, let's bring you what happened in Owerri during the collation, which has now been suspended. You see visuals there of an attempted interruption by Labour Party members who weren't quite pleased with the proceedings. They were asking that there's need for the collation exercise to be stepped down because of some concerns they raised as regards the conduct of the poll.
Petition.
No.
Yes, I think it's good. We have a petition concerning the election you want to collate.
Sorry.
Sorry, sir. A few minutes ago, the Honorable read in her address said that they are still documenting the activities.
You can submit your petition to the rec. Okay? I'm here for a job to be done as collation officer. I'm not supposed to preside over petition, my brother. I'm here for a job to be done. My job is as a collation officer. I'm not here as a lawyer. I'm not here as a judge. Okay? I'm here specifically to do my work as a collation officer. And anything that will disturb me, I want to move it away from my way. So I want to concentrate. I want to be focused. If there are petitions, my mandate does not cover me to look at petition. So what I'm supposed to do is to preside on this collation center, and that I will do. I will not do anything otherwise. So if you have a petition, submit it to the rec, to this office. They will handle it. I can assure you, they will handle it. It's not.
And as has been conventional, it's good that we tackle this before we go into collation. If we have an issue and you don't want to tackle it, you go into collation and you declare a winner. Then what happens to our petition?
My brother, I don't have that mandate. I've told you. I'm so clear. You don't have the mandate to look at any petition here. Along when we are presenting results, if there are issues, you raise your questions. I'm not supposed to look. I'm not a judge, and I'm not a tribunal judge. I'm not a lawyer. I'm here specifically to do my work. So if there are issues at the present result, you can raise up those issues and we'll tackle them. Not you presenting a petition before us. You can present your petition before a tribunal judge or before a lawyer or not to me. If you present your paper to me, it's of no use. I can't take a decision. I can't. Look. Let me say, you cannot stop.
I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry.
So sorry.
At the risk of repeating myself.
Hello, everybody, sit down, please. Sit down, please.
I'm ready to die defending democracy. You start everything and do nothing.
Well, the Labour Party agent by the name Callistus Iyejiaga was later on beaten and bundled out of the Imo State Collation Center a few minutes ago. Interesting sight there from Owerri. The agent consistently objected to results brought to the collation center, insisting that the results brought were at variance with what has been uploaded on IREV. By the way, IREV has been, excellent thus far relative to what we saw earlier in the year, with up to 60 and 65% results uploaded as at last night. The Labour Party agent repeatedly said that he had a petition to submit to INEC, but it was shut down by the returning officer, as you saw earlier. The returning officer insisting that his mandate is to preside over the collation and not petition, and that he might have to refer his petition to INEC headquarters. Like in Imo, we also elections were held in Kogi and Bayelsa state, and we're expecting collation to resume by 10 a.m. By the way, INEC says that it's cancelled election in 10 wards in a particular local government of Kogi state after allegations of pre-recorded result sheets in that part of the state. As a matter of fact, there are about 4 local government areas involved, and the electoral umpire says it's thoroughly investigating this new development and that it will make a decisive statement and a decision in this regard in the next 24 hours. Already, political stakeholders are calling for cancellation of election results in about 4 local government areas in Kogi state. We seem to have seen an improvement in the way INEC has conducted itself, but trust politicians to always come up with their antics, and that's perhaps what we've seen play out. I mean, it's interesting to note that election results would have been viewed at a time when voting was still going on in some polling units. And also we have new developments from the collation in Imo State, where we recorded some cancellations due to overvoting, disruptions, materials not being deployed, and also the non-usage of the bimodal voter accreditation system, the BVAS machine. Interesting to also note that we're hearing that collation will begin in a few hours, less than 3 hours in Kogi and Bayelsa state. The collation center earlier in Imo went on a 30-minute recess, and we expect collation in that place to begin by 7:30 this morning. We're monitoring closely developments from these 3 states. INEC had deployed close to 9 resident electoral commissioners. It called them supporting commissioners to help the resident electoral commissioner in each state. The police has also sent in new layers of supervision, with each of these states the operations in each of these states being led by a deputy inspector general. So, prior to the election, the perception given to us by these 2 agencies is that of huge preparation, and voters as well as Nigerians were assured that this will be a remarkable improvement from what we witnessed earlier. Time will tell how INEC intends to deal with this new development of, pre-recorded result sheets in some parts of Kogi state, as alleged by some party stakeholders with video evidence online. INEC has acknowledged this. It says that it doesn't, in fact, in its statement, INEC says that it has now appointed some senior officials to thoroughly investigate this development, and that we're expecting to hear a decisive mention in this regard in the coming hours. The Commission determined not to reward bad behavior, according to Mohammed Haruna, who is National Commissioner and member Information and Voter Education Committee. And it says that the election in 9 wards in Ogori Magogo local government area in Eni, Okibo, Okesi, Ileteju, Ayeromi, Ogogo, Obinoye, Obagbe, and Oturu is at the moment suspended. The commission also mentioned that the incidences in the other local government areas are being investigated, and the outcome, including the way forward, will be announced in the next 24 hours. You're watching our live coverage of the off-cycle governorship election in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi State. I'm joined now by God Bless Otubere, who is Global President ready to lead Africa and a fellow of the U.S. Department Mandela Washington Fellowship. Right. Thank you for joining us again this morning. Interesting development from what we saw yesterday. 20 out of the 27 local government areas results have now been collated in Imo. But what's your general assessment of things from the election yesterday?
I mean, my general assessment is that we are taking 5 steps forward and almost 10 or 15 steps backwards. The beauty of democracy goes beyond voting, clearly. But one of the most exciting part of the process is that the people are able to determine who becomes their leaders. And in doing so, they go out on a day that is agreed by everybody that we will be electing the next governor, or we want to continue with someone who we've earlier elected. So my general assessment is that we as a people are still a bit far, or a lot far from the idea of the definition that says democracy is the government of, by, and for the people.
Hold that thought, God bless. Collation has resumed in Owerri, where we probably have now the 21st local government area result being announced out of 27. We'll bring you the sight and sound, and we'll be back with more analysis.
22111. Party A 381. 381. Party AA 223. Party AA 223. Party AAC 34. 34. Party ADC 137. ADC 137. ADP 40. ADP 40. APC 141.
Well, we are going to reconnect and bring you live coverage of what's happening in Owerri. You were talking about the fact that we seem to have been making some progress, but then also, particularly when we heard about pre-recorded result sheets, I mean, it was almost impossible to believe until we started seeing video receipts.
I mean, you see, even as you're saying it, you are, it's difficult to even say, because, I mean, we're not just being watched by Nigerians. This channel is on international, cable, and people can see. And most times I always ask myself, how did someone agree internally that it is okay to pre-record result sheet?
I mean, bypassing the entire process.
So why did we give INEC money to conduct the elections in the first place? Why did we tell voters to come out and vote? Just why?
But perhaps could there be a bright side to this? The fact that it's perhaps we now have a system that makes it practically impossible to manipulate election in that way. Because usually, if you are acquainted with collation centers, the result sheet is shown to the stakeholders to show that it is blank before you start filling the figures. Maybe there's a bright side to it, that these politicians can take us for a ride.
Well, so the bright side is, okay, so now people are more vigilant, people are more aware, people are demanding to see things other than just go with what has happened. Indeed. Is that the bright side? Yes, that's our 5 step forward. The side that is the 10 steps backward is the fact that we still have people in 2023, 20 years of democracy, right? Dubbed one of the most educated black nations in the world. Oh, Nigerians are smart people. Nigerians are, and yet someone sat somewhere and felt the best way to power is to steal, manipulate, and outrightly just mess the entire place up. So when people say, oh, maybe that's the bright side, I always say to myself, what about the brighter side? The brighter side is what we should be looking for.
Are we not going to always have corrupt politicians with us? And then the responsibility is to develop structures that will make it impossible for these evil and corrupt individuals to have their ways.
We would always have the bad amongst us.
Because there were allegations of manipulations even in the U.S. election.
Those are, allegations which were tested in court. No proof. Allegations tested in court. No proof. That is the brighter side. That is how democracy works. You see these guys who do these things, they were part of those who went to school. And they taught them that democracy is defined as he who gets what, when, and how. The madness of the many for the benefit of the few. Some of us went to school and we learned that democracy is the government of, by, and for the people. And these are ideals that have built countries, economies. One of the things that baffles me, is that we don't understand the connectedness of development. If you steal an election, you are invariably telling the people that you are not accountable to them. Because the guy who took the risk to actually take a pre-recorded result sheet to a polling center or a polling unit, first is risking his or her life, could be lynched, could be attacked, is also risking jail term. Do you know the kind of motivation for you to be able to do that? So someone, either in the local government or in the party structure, must have engineered and incentivized that behavior. So if we want to stop this, we've got to follow the money. And I like what INEC has said. They've brought out a report that said they are following the trail. Indeed. They know the guys that were deployed to that area. And we will not keep quiet.
Because this couldn't have been done also without the culpability
absolutely
of the INEC, perhaps ad hoc staff at those polling units. But, it also now brings to mind what must be done to punish, this kind of behavior. Because if it just goes like that, like it always does, in previous elections, where you don't even get to arrest the foot soldiers. Well, maybe you do, and then you let them go. But then there is also not a comprehensive and sophisticated investigation process that can find out who's behind all of this, because the INEC staff cannot just decide to manipulate elections.
Absolutely not.
And the person who is paying them is also working on behalf of someone.
So I agree with you, and this is something I addressed yesterday extensively. And I said, as an institution, INEC does not prosecute people. INEC doesn't have prosecutorial powers. INEC has guidelines that prosecute people for election offenses. There is no holding cell in INEC headquarters, at the state offices or LG offices. There's no place they can take you to right now and put you there and say, we want to interrogate you for committing election crime. I have not seen it. I've visited the headquarters, I've visited the state offices and LG offices. There is none. Do you know what it means? It means that INEC responsibility is to print PVC, print ballot paper, organize voter registration, conduct election, announce who won, disqualify somebody who did,
We'll continue this conversation later. Let's get back to Owerri, where the collation is ongoing in the 2023 off-cycle governorship election in Imo State.
And I have the results here to be presented. Number of registered voters, Number of registered voters, 119987. 119987. Number of accredited voters. Number of accredited voters, 33662. 33662. Votes received by parties. Party A, 30. Party A, 30. Party AA, 54. Party AA, 54. Party AAC, 25. Party AAC, 25. Party ADC, 161. Party ADC, 161. Party ADP, 32. Party ADP, 32. Party APC, 22356. Party APC, 22356. APGA, 246. APGA, 246. APM, 07. APM, 07. APP, 01. APP, 01. BP, 0. BP, 0. LP, 1377. LP, 1377. NNPP, 19. NNPP, 19. NRM, 21. NRM, 21. PDP, 7258. PDP, 7258. PRP, 07. PRP, 07. SDP, 0545. SDP, 45. YPP, 27. YPP, 27. ZLP, 17. ZLP, 17. Total valid votes, 32183. Total valid votes, okay. Total valid votes. This is what I have here. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Sorry. I discovered that registered voters has changed. You have changed it here. Maybe that is actually what is causing the final.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Let him continue.
Okay, but we got it. Okay. Part A, 30. AA, 54. AAC, 25. ADC, 161. ADP, 32. ADP, 32. APC, 22356. APC, 22356. APGA, 246. APGA, 246. APM, 07. APM, 07. APP, 01. APP, 01. BP 0, BP 0, LP 1877, LP 1877, NNPP 19, NRM 21, PDP 7258, 7258, PRP 07, SDP 45, YPP 27, ZLP 17. Total valid votes 32183. Total valid votes 32183. Rejected votes 529. Rejected votes 529. Total votes cast 32712. Total votes cast 32712. As presented, sir.
Are there cancellations?
No cancellations, sir.
Thank you very much. Questions from party agents? Are there questions? Please make your presentation. Next. I've given it covered. Which local government is this? Wait, I'm trying to look for. Oh, amen. Imbanu. Thank you very much, Prof. Prof, introduce yourself and introduce your electoral officer. Now, continue. Yeah.
I am Abiodun Musbalawa, an associate professor.
Use your mic.
I am Abiodun Musbalawa, an associate professor of psychology from Federal University, Oye-Ekiti. I have with me my hero.
Gloria. Let's hope it's a human being.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Chairman, I was the collation officer for the local government Himen Banu. I have with me here the analysis of the election that took part yesterday. I have a total number of registered voters. 11 wards. I have 11 wards in this local government. And the total number of registered voters is 79212. 79212. Number of accredited voters is 13027. 13027. The distribution of the score, according to party, is as follows. A 03. A party 03. Party AA 15. Party AA 15. Party AAC 03. Party AAC 03. Party ADC 48. Party ADC 48. Party ADP 13. Party ADP 13. Party APC 6632. Party APC 6632. Party APGA 22. Party APGA 22. Party APM 08. Party APM 08. Party APP 04. Party APP 04. Party BP 07. Party BP 07. Party LP 4958. Party LP 4958. Party NNPP 44. Party NNPP 44. Party NRM 03. Party NRM 03. Party PDP 681. Party PDP 681. Party PRP 00. Party PRP 00. Party SDP 04. Party SDP 04. Party YPP 08. Party YPP 08. And finally, Party ZLP 31. Party ZLP 31. Together have the total valid vote is 12484. 12484. The rejected votes are 298. The rejected votes are 298. And the total vote cast is 12782. Total vote cast 12782. As presented, sir.
Thank you very much. Are there cancellations?
Yes, there were. There were cancellations.
How many cancellations?
I have the number of units in cancellation were about 34 units, but specifically 3 wards. And then we have a case of where one polling unit in one ward, the PO and the SPO, the PO couldn't present the result, particularly for one unit. And then we have disruption in another one polling unit. Thank you.
What are the major reasons for the 34 cancellations? Can we have the reasons?
Yes, the overvoting.
In
Overvoting.
all?
Overvoting.
In all?
Overvoting. Overvoting.
Okay, give us the towns and the votes as they want to have them. The towns and the votes for each of the areas where there were cancellations.
For example, I have that should be 11. Specifically at Umweze 1, we have cases whereby the number of registered voters was, for example, out of the Umweze 1 has 13 units. And in all the units, there were discrepancies. For example, Central School Umweze has a total number of registered voters 750. And then we have number of accredited as 157. And similarly, we had all that. Like Umweze 2 Technical School, 395 as total number of registered voters. And we have 105 as a total number of accredited. So there were...
So what do you call that? What do you call that?
The vote cast. In this, the entire world were actually above what was actually accredited. The number of people that did the accreditation.
Do you have all your records there? Okay.
Yes, I have everything here.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to say something.
Thank you for another opportunity. The essence of knowing these places that are cancelled is for one to know the winning margin. It is very important that you tell us the polling units, the can take your time and write it out. The polling units that are affected, how many numbers of registered voters, and the rest of them. So that we know the particular place in case they say to conduct election. Let us know where. My party APM is interested. He can say I'm not doing well. So I want to see whether I can do well in those ones. Thank you.
In other words, what he's saying is that in the case of principle of lead margin may arise, and you may want to correlate. So that is why you have to document things well. It's not just ordinary just telling us. We want to know the principle of lead margin. Of course, that's why the records must be properly documented. So that when the issue come up, principle of lead margin, we have to surface, and then we have to have the records to it. So maybe you want to go and do that. Okay. There are more. Let's see what they have. Where are the records? The records where they are written. You know, you have to write them somewhere. That's what he's trying to say. We're not talking about the result sheets.
ECG.
Okay. Let me
40G.
see.
EC 40G.
So you are attributing it to overvoting, all of them to overvoting.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by overvoting? Can you explain to everybody?
The total number of votes cast were far higher than the number of accredited voters.
You didn't give us, what you gave us a number accredited, number registered. You didn't, number of coast bus, the number of voters.
Looking at the score sheets, sir. The score sheets, that was why I actually attached the EC 40G to it so that for summary purpose.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Are there questions from the party agents? No, okay. That's okay. Next. Hey. Young man. Give me my results now. I don't have to be coordinated. Bring everything now. You have done that. And then all the cancellation thing. I need all of them. The documents.
Mr. Chairman, sir.
Just wait. Be patient. Wait. Don't rush me. Let that man bring all his documents. So that I'm all right. Right. All the documents you gave to me now for the cancellation. Yeah. That's what I wanted now. Please, or while you have mutilation, while you you make cancellation, just sign them. Please, sign all of them. Sign all of them. All these places, sign all of them, please. Yeah, you can continue.
Thank you very much, sir. Lukman Ashino Akinola is my name, from Department of Mathematics, Federal University of Ekiti. I served as the local government collation officer for Olu local governments.
Olu?
Yes.
Olu?
Olu local governments.
Okay.
Olu, thank you very much. In the governorship election that took place 11th of November 2023. And I have the EO with me here.
Godfrey Okocha.
Okay.
Give us the name of
Godfrey Okocha.
Godfrey Okocha. So thank you very much. So I want to proceed with the presentation of the results. Do I go ahead, sir? Thank you, sir. Number of registered voters, 103,223. Number of registered voters, 103,223. Number of accredited voters, 49,229. Number of accredited voters, 49,229. And I proceed with the vote score by each of the political parties that contested. A party, 03. A party, 03. AA, 51. AA, 51. AAC, 03. AAC, 03. ADC, 1036. ADC, 1036. ADP, 969. ADP, 969. APC, 37614. APC, 37614. APGA, 1711. APGA, 1711. APM, 14. APM, 14. APP, 00. APP, 00. BP, 21. BP, 21. LP, 2424. LP, 2424. NNPP, 448. NNPP, 448. NRM, 07. NRM, 07. PDP, 3690. PDP, 3690. PRP, 15. PRP, 15. SDP, 01. SDP, 01. YPP, 03. YPP, 03. ZLP, 17. ZLP, 17. Total valid votes, 48027. Total valid votes 48027. Rejected votes 359. Rejected votes 359. Total votes cast 48386. Total votes cast 48386. Hereby presented, sir.
Are there cancellations?
No direct cancellation, but in 3 polling units, cases of PU not returning with the resource and election material were reported. So it affected polling registration area 2. Yes, or High K or Opora. So we have the 3 polling units involved there. Central School IO, that is PU number 5, that has total number of 750 as registered voters. So the second one, we have 007 PU code. This is Obiu Upu, that has total number of registered voters 413. And the last one, we have Amala Hall, that is the PU code 010. So that has total number of registered voters to be 750. And altogether, in the 3 PU involved, we have 1912 as total number of registered voters, sir.
Altogether, 3 cancellations.
Yes, sir.
Now, have you documented them?
It has been done, sir.
Questions from agents? Questions? No, please make your presentation.
Thank you very much, sir.
Submit. Thank you very much. Prof, that's Ohaji Egbema. Okay. Introduce yourself and introduce your electoral officer.
Good morning, once again.
Sorry, Professor Akinola, you have submitted the cancellation or the cancellation form. Okay, thank you. Yes.
My name is Professor Olajide Lawa, Professor of Chemistry from Federal University, Oye, Ekiti, and I am the coalition officer for Haji Egbema. I work with Mr.
Wosuno Alikena as the electoral officer.
Thank you. In Haji Egbema local government, we have 12 wards there. Number of registered voters, 107,456. Number of registered voters, 107,456. Votes received by political parties. Number of accredited voters, 21366. Number of accredited voters, 21366. Votes received by political parties. Party A, 15. A, 15. AA, 44. AA, 44. AAC, 08. AAC, 08. ADC, 110. ADC, 110. ADP, 46. ADP, 46. APC, 14962. APC, 14962. APGA, 147. APGA, 147. APM, 13. APM, 13. APP, 11. APP, 11. BP, 33. BP, 33. LP, 1506. LP, 1506. NNPP 58. NNPP 58. NRM 16. NRM 16. PDP 3694. PDP 3694. PRP 18. PRP 18. SDP 04. SDP 04. YPP 47. YPP 47. ZLP 23. ZLP 23. Total valid votes 20755. Total valid votes 20755. Votes rejected 494. Votes rejected.
Sorry, come back. Valid votes
20755.
Okay.
Rejected votes 494.
Okay.
Total votes cast 21249. 21249.
Thank you, Paul. Are there cancellations?
Yeah, we had one incidence of cancellation in Umuapu ward, and it was due to destruction of ballot papers, including the box. So we were only able to save the beavers. So the number of registered voters affected was 552, and then total number of PVCs collected. That's people who have collected PVCs 501.
You have documented them there?
Yeah, it's documented.
Thank you very much. Questions from party agents? Are there questions? Questions? Prof, submit your... Thank you very much. Next. Prof, you put all the... Thank you very much, Prof.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I'm standing on the 16 protocol. My name is Professor Ayodele Anthony Fajimi from Federal University, Oye-Ekiti. I'm the collation officer for Idiato North local government area in the governorship election of 11th November 2023 in Imo State. With me is...
My name is Pastor Anthony Onwasanya, the electoral officer in Idato North local government area. Thank you.
The result for the governorship election held on 11th November 2023 in Idiato North local government area are as follows. Total number of registered voters, A6905. Total number of accredited voters, 9609. Total number of valid votes, 9161.
Why are you starting from that place?
From No.
For the parties.
We should go to parties.
You start from parties now.
Okay. Now, the score.
Votes scored by each party.
Votes scored by each party. Party A, 06. AA, 46. AAC, 08. ADC, 50. ADP, 28. APC, 5271. APGA, 85. APM, 10. APP, 05. BP, 04. LP, 1522. NNPP, 20. NRM, 05. PDP, 2062. PRP, 03. SDP, 01. YPP, 06. ZLP, 29. Total valid votes, 9161. Rejected votes, 389. Total vote cast, 9550.
Come back again. Valid votes.
Valid votes, 9161. Rejected votes, 389. Total vote cast, 9550.
Any cancellation?
Yes.
How many?
We cancel the 4 words. Total polling unit, those 4 words. The result were cancelled.
What are the locations?
No usage of beavers.
Okay.
In all the four words.
Locations, please.
In the name, Duzogu, in the.
They say you pronounce it well. You say the reason why we are saying you should go to school in your local language.
In the This all good. Then is all good one. Is all good one. In the Moko. In the Moko. Then is all good 2. Is all good 2. The old polling units there did not use beavers.
Okay. Are there questions? Party agents, questions? Yeah.
Thank you once again. You said that they did not use beavers. Is it correct to say that beavers was not provided for them? Or it was provided, but they refused to use it? So that let us know what. Thank you.
Beavers provided, but they refused to use the beavers. They refused to use the beavers.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. Do we release him? Okay. Submit. Next. Please come with your the cancellation sheet, the paper. Thank you, Prof. No.
What this one? You have there.
4. Supposed to be 4. Is it the 4th one?
2 bomber.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Please,
All protocols observed. UTF Boma. I am Dr. Olaide Oladimeji from Federal University of Ekiti. I'm the collation officer for this local government, Uboma.
Please, let's have some silence, please.
In the governorship election that held on November 11, 2023, beside me, seated on my right hand side, is my electoral.
Kenneth Zabas, electoral officer, Yitu Obama local government.
Yes, the result is as followed. Total number of registered voters, 52108. 52108. Total number of accredited voters, 17537. 17537. Result as called by the party. Party A, 55. Party A, 55. Party AA, 22. Party AAC, 69. Party AAC, 69. Party ADC, 60. Party ADC, 60. Party ADP, H2. Party ADP, H2. Party APC, 11099. Party APC, 11099. APGA, APGA, 61. APGA, APGA, 61. APM, 04. APM, 04. APP, 02. BP, 08. BP, 08. LP, 2766. LP, 2766. NNPP, 20. NNPP, 20. NRM, 07. NRM, 07. PDP, 3077. PDP, 3077. PRP, 01. PRP, 01. SDP, 0. SDP, 0. YPP, 10. YPP, 10. ZLP, 15. ZLP, 15. Total valid votes, 17358. Total valid votes, 17358. 358. Rejected votes 179. Rejected votes 179. Total votes cast 17537. Total votes cast 17537. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are there cancellations?
No, no cancellation.
Okay. Questions from agents? Questions? If there are no questions, please submit your papers, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, which is the last one, I think. What's the name of the local government?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and all notable personality. My name is Dr. Banji Ridwan Olaleye, appointed as the collation officer for Umbitoli local government area. And by my side is the electoral officer.
Mwabisi Teresa.
Here is the analysis of the results. Umbitoli has 12 wards and 287 polling units. Number of registered voters, 153,283. 153,283. Number of accredited voters, 24186. 24186. Analysis of scores accrued by parties. Party A 19. Party A 19. Party AA 101. Party AA 101. Party AAC 25. Party AAC 25. Party ADC 130. Party ADC 130. Party ADP 51. Party ADP 51. Party APC 12556. Party APC 12556. Party APGA 222. Party APGA 222. Party APM 15. Party APM 15. Party APP 18. Party APP 18. Party BP 25. Party BP 25. Party LP 4007. Party LP 4007. Party NNPP 41. Party NNPP 41. Party NRM 34. Party NRM 34. Party PDP 5343. Party PDP 5343. Party PRP 08. Party PRP 08. Party SDP 18. Party SDP 18. Party YPP, 314. Party YPP, 314. Party ZLP, 87. Party ZLP, 87. Total valid votes, 23014. Total valid votes, 23014. Rejected votes, 972. Rejected votes, 972. Total votes cast, 23986. Total vote cast, 23986. So presented.
Any cancellation?
Yes.
How many wards and the locations?
Yes, we have 4 polls that are affected, that span across 3 wards. In Orodo A, we are having 2 polling units that are affected. Polling unit 005, which is Duru Egbuna, all one, and polling unit 019, which is Diwodu Village, all, with registered voters, number of registered voters as 170 and 571 respectively. Also, in Umunua Azara, which has a code of 03, we are having the polling unit of 006, community school, Umunua. We are, Umunua, sorry. Number of registered voters affected there, 902. And lastly, in Ogbaku, we are at the polling unit 08. We are having number of registered voters there affected, 696. And reason for all this cancellation was as a result of violence that accrued from non-usage of beavers, which of course resulted into overvoting. And not only that, there was a case of missing result booklets, and even beavers, as well as at that particular local government, they are still in search of a core member. And also there are disruption where EC8A of the polling unit in Agbaku was being torn, and there was no record for them. Thank you very much, sir.
Comments? Comments? Please, can you submit your... Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much. Can we have a copy with all the documents of cancellations, records of cancellation? Thank you very much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of results, announcement, blah, blah, blah. So what we are going to do now is to translate, to transfer, sorry. You can see it's, it's empty. So we are going to transfer this to EC8D from EC8C. Okay? And you will grant us that audience to be able to do that. You just be patient with us. We want to make sure that all the papers are properly transferred. What did you say?
Now we have all the results from the 27 local government areas in Imo State. Imo has the highest number of electorate participating in this off-cycle election. 2,419,000 people actually collected their PVCs. The last local government to be read at the Collation Center, you'll find there from Umbatoli local government area. And it seems from the figures you can tell how electorates have voted, and we'll be back to the Collation Center shortly to find out what the accumulation of results is. You know, usually would say you can't tell who the contenders, the real contenders are until after election. Interesting development, God bless, particularly when you consider the issues raised before this election. And then, are you surprised by the figures that are trickling in?
I think I'm just waiting for the final summation. Currently, our situation room is looking at all the data that we have, comparing it with what has now been announced at the State Collation Center. But of course, we're just going to keep monitoring, observing, and following the results as now been announced by INEC, and see what the conclusion is. Of course, there were issues there. You heard where they said there were particular polling units where they rejected the use of the beavers.
Indeed.
Like they just outrightly said they're not using the beavers, and they rather vote the traditional way.
And it is clear from the Electoral Act that such election will not stand. We're going to talk about the reasons for cancellations because it's not just peculiar to a particular local government area. But you see the figures from Imo, 2.4 million people actually had their PVCs collected. There are 101,003 PVCs that were not collected in this election. With time, we'll find out what the summation is to tell if there has been an apparent voter apathy, which has been widely reported in this particular election. But what would you say to how engaged voters have been, particularly in Imo, from what you saw at the polling units yesterday?
Well, I mean, largely what was reported from most of our people on the ground in Imo was that there was high voter apathy, right? And where voters really engaged in Imo, it was a case of who is getting out the vote, right? Who is mobilizing their people to go out there and vote the most? That's what we figured out, and of course, a high level of vote buying that happened across most of the polling units.
We understand that the collation center in Imo State is now going on an hour break, and then I'm sure by the time they return, we'll have the official results and see how things went in the off-cycle governorship election. You're talking about vote buying. EFCC just reported that they arrested 14 suspected vote buyers and also seized over 11 million naira across the 3 states. 11 million naira, you can tell that's just a drop in the ocean as to how much politicians spend for election. But vote buying is fast becoming a part and parcel of our electoral process. Why is that so?
It's shameful. I mean, it's shameful. Why are you buying the votes if you are popular? I was saying it on air, yesterday, and I said the recent elections that was just held in Virginia and some other parts of the United States. Somebody who was running for city council, or I think it was mayoral seat. Is being currently investigated because there's allegation that he was giving people $10
to vote
for him, and now he's going to go to jail for it. Because you see, I always say this, that democracy is a power tool. You give it to people who have education, and guess what they will give you? A finished product that is well designed, that meets standard, and that has precision to it. Give democracy to uneducated people, they will use it to destroy themselves. That's what happens. Everything that we have consistently said is, if we will practice democracy that is progressive, responsive, and result-oriented, those who practice it must be educated. Because it's assumed that you have the capacity to make informed decision to vote for someone. That's the idea. Government of, by, and for the people. But if that person has had poor childhood education, almost non-existent primary education, dilapidated classroom, like we saw a governor voting in a school without ceiling yesterday. He was so ashamed, he was so unashamed of himself that he was standing there taking pictures. How do you expect the people who went to such school to make the decision to elect the right people? So our advocacy, we are learning new things, not necessarily new, where we are echoing what we have always said. I can go out there and tell people to go out there and vote. Get your PVC, believe in the system. But I want to know, is that person aware that it is even inimical to me and him if he sells his vote? That is why vote buying persists. And I've said it. You cannot have politically active citizens who are economically passive. You cannot have politically active citizens who are economically passive. That is what is leading to this whole idea of vote buying.
So I understand your position, you know, from the angle of those who are collecting the money.
Correct.
All right, but now let's talk about the political reality of things. How do you contest an election where the person you are competing with is actively doling out cash in this economy, and then out of integrity you say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. Politically, it sounds like you're not ready to win elections. When you put yourself in the shoes of these political actors, what do you think is possible within or under the circumstance?
Look, again, INEC is okay. I don't think we're ready as a people to actually practice the kind of democracy that we say we want to. It is illegal to buy, vote, and sell.
Absolutely.
How come?
It's a crime.
It's a crime. You see me, I was stuttering. And look, I can't understand how something that is illegal is becoming a norm. What are we doing? Is this what we want Gen Zs to copy? Is this what you're telling us millennials to follow? A new generation is emerging. So the older guys are going to get old and leave. So my generation is being taught in real time that we cannot compete in an election where we are trading ideas on how to develop, but rather who pays the most cash. It's a shame on all the politicians.
Is it a question of morality or, economic reality?
It is not about, look, there are countries where people are poor. They don't buy votes. They don't sell votes. So you can't tell me that it is because Nigerians are poor only. No. There are countries in Africa that are poorer than Nigeria. The citizens are poorer than us in terms of our GDP, in terms of our comparative purchasing power, in terms of our economic outlook, exposure. They don't sell their votes. So you can't, look, it's like there's no such thing as a problem. If what you call a problem, in another clime, people take it as an opportunity to advance.
But, we call it vote buying during an election. But in reality, you look at the kind of relationship that exists between politicians and their constituents. A politician comes for an event, and then there are boys on the street who will waylay him. And then he's not even recognized as being popular if he doesn't dole out cash.
Correct.
That is the culture that has persisted for years and that we have also carried over into election. Is it a problem with the politician? Because to remain popular in the real sense of it, you have to show love, like they say on the streets.
I do not disagree. And I know there are people looking at me right now and say, oh no, he's out of tune with reality. Why don't I become out of tune with reality and get it right for my country? You see, the idea, the defeatist mentality that a lot of us bring to the world, we're just local champions playing in a community, one-eyed king in the land of the blind. That is what we are. And I always say this, Nifemi. The truth is, dial back, it wasn't so before. Politicians were not waylaid and told to give money to be popular. It is the non-performance, the treachery, betrayal of politicians over time that took the common good, appropriated it to themselves individually. People rose to the point where they said, you know what? If you're not going to let the public good be shared, we are going to now come and get it ourselves. How? Let us hail him and let him dole cash. Let him show love. So the guy who is abdicating his or her responsibility as a public office holder who is responsible for the adjudication and apportioning of common good decided that, you know what, I can actually buy some level of legitimacy.
You know what, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I know of a community where they stopped construction of an overhead bridge because the government did not settle the boys. I know of another community where they did not allow a particular politician to install a transformer because it did not settle the boys. So, you know, the politician said, you know what, give me back my transformer since you are not, you know, that interested. Is it possible, you know, the way our electoral system is, the way our politics, is it possible to win an election in Nigeria today without buying votes?
It is almost impossible, but it is possible. And let me say this clearly. All the votes that politicians use to win are not bought. It's not possible. You can't buy all the votes that you use to.
Absolutely.
You don't have that money.
That's right.
And if I am a public office holder elected to serve the people, and I'm trying to construct a bridge, and there are people within the community that say if we don't settle them, we won't do the work. No, now they will be in jail. I'm sorry, they will be in jail because you are. It is going to be you versus the state. Guess what happened? Such misdeed was tolerated by one politician. And somebody came and whispered and advised him and said, you know, there are money, there are people on the ground who, let's just placate them. It's like negotiating with terrorists. It used to be we don't negotiate with terrorists. We now saw a government in my lifetime. I lived through a time, where we heard you don't negotiate with terrorists. And then at a time in my lifetime, I saw government create negotiating teams with terrorists. Look, except what we went to school to read is a lie. Except the idea that mankind is designed to question his or her environment, come up with the best response because progress is what drives the human spirit. Except that is a lie. Except I am naive. Except it is not true. But I know it is true.
The negotiation has also become a strategy to appeal to, you know, the sensibility of the people and, you know, the acceptance you get from them as a politician. For instance, if you insist that you will negotiate with terrorists, and then the abducted people die in their custody, they will come for you in another 4 years on election day that you didn't do your job.
Let me now say this. The American military will say, it is in your place to decide to be unruly or do illegal things or be a terrorist. It is in our place to send you to God. Right? No, you can choose to be a terrorist. You see, after God is government. After God is government. That's why I was saying something before you called me. I was saying, except it is not true what we went to read in school. Except it is not true that we can actually lead a society that works. Except it is not true. But I'm saying that it is true. The societies can work. Right? The societies can work. I'm not unaware of back channel engagement that government does. Oh no, nobody should think I'm unaware.
And all the governments around the world for
that matter. No, of course. But to publicly accept defeat before the public that you are negotiating with terrorists. No. So if I have people in my community who say I must settle them before I do public good, no, they are now the ones against public good.
I hear you.
The police, the military must now intervene.
Indeed. So, you know, vote buying is just a little part of it. There is a limit of spending required by law.
Correct.
Unfortunately, we've not been able to adequately scrutinize how much each political party spends, because the amount of money spent, you know, to even get qualified at the primary level to settle some political constituency is huge. The female senator who just won at the Court of Appeal came on national TV to accuse our state governor of offering her to the tune of 50 or 70 million naira to drop her political ambition in that regard.
Wow.
How do you think we can begin to fine-tune this process to pay less attention of money politics, in our electoral process?
So it's simple. No, it's not simple. Let me not use the word. I mean, you don't use simple solutions to complex problems. INEC again comes to the fore. Campaign financing. That's what this is. Campaign financing. Political campaign financing. Do you know why? So let me give you an example. I ran for office while I was in the University of Benin for Student Union. I don't know if it's changed now, but in the University of Benin, if you are running for office, you are not allowed to print colored poster. Do you know why? So that you don't spend money. When I ran for office in 2008, 2009, 2010, thereabout, campaigning to over 25,000 students, I was only allowed to print black and white posters. I cannot put my campaign ads.
Which automatically puts a cap on your spending.
Put a cap on my spending. I can't put my campaign ads on social media either. You know why? Because the management of the election at the student union level was so conscious that when you get into the student union government, the goal is to serve the students, not to make money. So at the end of the day, some of us didn't have money, but we ran for elections and won. We campaigned from class to class, told the people what we wanted to do. Guess what? We didn't buy beer or drinks for some people who said they were godfathers. You know what we did? We spoke to the people and said, if you elect us, we're going to ensure that you have information. And guess what? We did that.
But in that case, there was a system and a structure that aided
that.
Yeah, that.
So that is why I'm coming back to INEC. The same, look, INEC is doing too much. Campaign financing should now be the responsibility of maybe the ICPC or the EFCC, working closely with INEC. So you need to have a separate unit. Let me tell you, do you know what it means for you? See, INEC is stretched. Do you know why? I think part of the reason they did these 3 elections in one day is because, as we speak, INEC is constantly conducting rerun, obstacle election, right? Imagine if they had conducted this election staggeredly. That is INEC conducting how many elections in one year? So let's put everything together so that we free ourselves of it. Most likely they may repeat the same thing for Edo and Ondo because they're just 1 month apart, right? So now what that tells you is political parties have problems just to submit. Look at what happened leading up to the 2023 election. To conduct presidential primaries, INEC gave guidelines 1 year ago. Political parties that we know in this country, at least the 2 major ones, they were still shifting their date. Do you know why? Because we have institutions that are not strong. Institutions that are manned by people without a sense of duty. We can't bend the date. I am sorry, sir. If you don't want to conduct your primaries, then you can't run for the election. That is what the leadership of INEC should do. But guess what? We are in our own reality. You see, Nigeria, anyhowness goes. And that is what young generation, that's what we're learning. And when some of us speak out against it, they say we are rude. They say we are disrespectful. They say, you don't have respect to your elders. No, because some of the people who are doing these things here, when they get out of Murtala Mohammed or Nnamdi Azikiwe and they touch down in Heathrow,
they conform and comply.
Jesus is Lord. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Because at the end of the day, you then say to yourself, so adherence to the law or to order is not actually something the Nigerian cannot do. He is just wallowing in a defeatist reality.
So it's about building that sustainable structure and system.
Correct.
That every other stakeholder can comply with.
You must comply with it.
Absolutely. Some other reasons given by the coalition officers that we saw, in Owerri as reasons for cancelling election in some polling units is disruption.
Correct.
And violence. Unfortunately, that still reared its ugly head in 2023, even in an election that was policed by close to 100, if not more than 100,000 security operatives. In Kogi, there were 40,000 police officers. In Imo, there were over 25,000. You know, that's just the police. Our correspondent yesterday mentioned how the police was being checked by the soldiers at checkpoints to let you know how, you know, how detailed the security operatives have become. What do you think emboldens this element, you know, to attempt violence and disruption, you know, under such security surveillance?
Lack of consequence, complicity, dereliction of duty, pure is a detachment from country. We don't have patriots anymore. When we were growing up, I remember growing up, I had the coat of arms from social studies. We stand for the national anthem. Today, go to places and see how we disrespect the national anthem. It is called disassociation from whatever meaning is.
No, we can't even sing it appropriately.
I don't want to go there. Why is that? Because there's no consequence for bad behavior. It is the idea that we have come to, it's like Animal Farm. Anything goes. That's what happens here. That is why, and again, I'm not shading the police, but I think when they say this deployment thing, I don't think it's true. Do you know what it means to put 40,000 people, policemen in Kogi?
So you don't have evidence to prove that the police wasn't
I'm just saying, because
I just don't see any reason why they would also want to lie about the numbers.
No, I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying that it is possible that it is not also correct. 40,000.
Maybe we have to go and come back.
And then you go. Look, I have reports now. I deployed people. We deployed people across, and then you hear things like, there's no security presence here. I will name polling units. So where are your 40,000 people? How many polling units are you manning?
So there are red zones. There are places that are, you know, susceptible to violence. Perhaps the focus is more on that. But let's talk about
yeah,
you know, some other, you know, components of why cancellations were rife in this election. The coalition officers also talked about non-usage of BVAS machines. And it wasn't a situation where the machine wasn't working, because that was a challenge we had to, you know, battle with earlier in the year.
Correct.
And INEC says it's updated the system. And we didn't see much of that happen yesterday. In few cases where it was reported, our reporters also did mention that it was fixed almost immediately. But then there were people who came out to vote at particular polling units who decided that, you know what, we're not using them.
Should I tell you why?
We're not using the machines.
Should I tell you why? It's simple. Because your court said IREV portal is a dashboard. It's nothing of importance. The brain is connecting your BVAS and an IREV and saying, if the court don't even regard this thing, it's not different. So you see, most times I'm shocked at the way we behave here. We are just hypocrites, all of us, hypocrites. I don't know, if you have children, if you have kids, you know, they don't do what you say. They do what you do now. That's what kids do. That's what people do.
But we saw an improvement with the performance of IREV. As at last night, we were reading close to 65%. And I understand your point when it comes to, INEC was very clear.
Yes.
In the sense that IREV plays no role in collation. What it does is to boost transparency and accountability. It's just like when you vote at the polling unit. Before IREV, they write out the result and paste it on the wall where you can take pictures. And then INEC is now doing it officially so that every interested stakeholder can go there to see what has been uploaded by IREV. I mean, but it is very clear to us now, you know, after the Supreme Court decision, that IREV isn't electronic voting. As a matter of fact, it's just taking picture of the result sheets that each party agent in that polling unit has access to. So if you ask me, I think it's improving our transparency. It's something you can also take to court and say, you know what, the results we have. Because that's what the judges were saying, that if you are accusing INEC of malpractice, bring evidence. Because your party agents should have a copy of the report. So why are we making so much? I mean, the IREV you are talking about, you are just taking the picture of a document you have. So if you are coming to court, bring the document you have, and then let us compare it with the result announced by INEC.
I do not disagree. I'm simply saying, when people deliberately say we will not vote using your machine, is because your entire process seems not to even recognize in law.
Could it also be an intentional attempt on the part of some scrupulous elements?
Correct. It's
to
also
disenfranchise in areas where they don't consider themselves strong. Because they know that automatically, if voting is done without the machine, then it's just like disrupting the process. Now, the Electoral Act says when there's violence in the polling units, it's cancelled. It could be a strategy by politicians.
I do not disagree with you. You see, and I hope people can understand my position. It's not that it's not even possible. You can't vote without using the beavers.
Absolutely.
There's no incidence form.
There are no more incidents.
So it's clear. I'm not saying that people should. I'm saying we must understand cause and effect. We were watching it together. The returning officer said they were not going to use beavers.
The collation officer, yes.
The collation officer said they were not going to use beavers. So I'm saying, as a social scientist, as somebody who studies human behavior, cause and effect, reason, data, for things, you must then begin to plug things and say, why will people, did it ever happen in the 2023 elections? In the presidential election?
Well, there were a few
cases. It was not reported that people deliberately said they were not going to use beavers. There was no place, no. There was no such.
There were a few cases where they said that votes were cancelled because beavers was not used. Maybe you want to say it wasn't as pronounced as it is in this election.
So you know what happened? What INEC has done, which is really impressive, is that you see how the beavers, how the voting process worked now is seamless. A lot of the glitches that were being noticed before are now fixed.
Exactly.
Right? So it's an improvement on that. There were places where the beavers was not functioning properly and people wanted to vote using incidence form, and the polling officer said, no, you cannot use incidence form. We would probably, reconduct this election another time and all. That one happened in the general elections. I'm just saying that to say beavers was working and people deliberately say they are not going to use it is because there is a cause and effect reality, but it doesn't make it right. So what does this say to us? It means that if guidelines are set, why did we campaign for electronic transmission of results? Why? We said we want electronic transmission of results to be part of the electoral guidelines codified in law. IREV is not supposed to just be a dashboard.
But apparently we're not there yet.
So,
both in law and in infrastructure.
Good.
Because we have to be very real with ourselves. I mean, IREV, even before this election, INEC, was bold enough to say it might take as long as 2-hour delay, depending on the network. And the reality of networks.
Correct.
Even on your own mobile device, you can have challenges, connecting to the internet. Do you think that as a country, we are ready, infrastructure-wise, for electronic transmission of results? I know it can be very troubling seeing people come sit down and read out the numbers, and then we're like, in this age and time, by now we should have gone electronic. But do you think we have that competence and that infrastructure to create a seamless, process in this regard?
We are not there yet. I'm laughing because, you see, when I see the way elections are done in Africa, right, and maybe West Africa, let me not use the whole of Africa, and I'm asking myself, we have different types of, you see that beavers now, you see that tiny little beavers that people just carry around. If you build a base that houses that thing right? And you give it a leg, and you put it in that, you see that cubicle? The voting cubicle? You put it there, and you build something that gives it some level of stability. It changes from just that tiny little beavers that anybody think is just one little thing. It then becomes a voting booth, right? Check behavioral acceptance to it and the way we would treat it. It will be different. Now, what I'm simply saying is this. We do not have yet the technology manifested. Is it in our brains? Yes, we can. Because trust me, we've seen people build things in our universities that don't get support.
They did.
Right? So what it tells you is that we can actually build voting infrastructure if we want to. Again, INEC does not depend really. The IRF portal is not hosted on your 10 gig or 50 gig server. Let's be clear. That's why INEC gets money. The taxpayers' money that we're supposed to be using to build schools and roads, we're using it to conduct elections. So it should be done well. That's what we always say to INEC whenever we meet with the leadership. Right? So what this means is that the infrastructure for election can be improved upon if there is a collective agreement that we want to improve. Nifemi, it's as though there is a group, I don't know where they are from, that just want the country not to be better than this. Look, I've been to different TVC studios before. I've been to the one in Lagos, the one in Abuja. This one that we are at now is an improvement of what I used to see TVC studio look like
so
before.
You're saying INEC should learn from TVC?
Come on.
Interesting way you have put it.
You know, no. I'm not saying INEC should learn from TVC. What I'm simply saying is that as humans,
exactly.
Constantly improving.
I get you. Fantastic. And in all reality, we have seen some improvement in this election from the previous one. You mentioned the beavers, for instance. The beavers. Even IREV, the last election, we're seeing INEC officials snapping their faces and all of that. That has also been corrected.
Correct.
But let's talk about overvoting, because that's also one thing we heard from the coalition officers in Owerri, where the number of the total vote cast is more than the accredited voters. What do you think happened?
They cooked it.
Is that ballot paper stuffing?
They just cooked it. That's cooked numbers. They just wrote those numbers.
Okay.
And it's a shame. See, it's difficult for young people like us who work in the CSO space. Look, do you know, my organization had an ad on TV urging people to go out and vote and stay peaceful. And then we saw people who went to certain polling units. My observers are crying. Like, we were here. There were no people. How do you bring this result? How? Where did it come from? Where did it come from? What are you people doing? Politicians and I don't know the other groups that are spoiling this. What are you people doing? All of this thing is leading us to chaos. It's no longer funny, Nifemi. And I'm saying it to everyone. Just because of what? Cars? Police behind you? And free parking at the airport? Or ESTA code? Is that what you are destroying the country for? That you would even then pre-fill result sheet? And you have kids. A generation is lost. A generation's capacity to dream has been dampened. We still go to school, built by colonial masters, 6 blocks classroom. It's still being built today. And then you pre-fill election results. Do you think you are doing me? You think, wait, you think this is like a game? You think this is like, oh, who gets what, when, and how? You are limiting my potential. You're limiting the potential of young people across this beautiful country of ours. And it should stop.
Yes, and I think that, perhaps for the first time or an improvement from what we've had in the past, we've seen INEC, responding in time to this challenge. I mean, I was on air last night, yesterday when the SDP candidate raised these issues and mentioned that he's even posted video receipts online. And then a few hours later on, INEC responded.
Correct.
Now we have a full press release from INEC.
Correct.
Suspending 10 wards from one of those local government areas, acknowledging that there are about 4 local government areas affected and that it will come in 24 hours to make a decision in that regard.
Correct.
You have to acknowledge that that's an improvement.
No,
because usually,
absolutely, yeah.
even within the Electoral Act of 2022, INEC now can review election results within 7 days.
7 days, correct.
And I think that's what the returning officer was saying to the aggrieved Labour Party members, that, you know what, my job here is to collect results. If you have petitions, there is a structure now within the electoral body to address these issues and even reverse some of the decisions or announced results within 7 days.
But so that is not impossible. That is like telling, okay, how do I say this? Do you know why people don't take that serious? Because the guidelines, some of the easier ones to even do, you have failed in the past. Even in this same, your new dispensation, which is what we say to INEC every time. Well, look, I want INEC to work. If INEC works, the electoral process will work. That's why, you see INEC disqualifying candidates. You didn't meet our guideline. Oh, you're supposed to have submitted this and you didn't, So there are improvements. But if you would say to somebody that, oh, the electoral guideline says that in 7 days we can review. But there are very little small ones now. Deploy. Let's voting start at 8. You don't start at 8.
In most places that we...
No, I'm just saying, I'm not talking about...
Yes,
in
this election.
No,
yes. I understand your position, but I am also very neat with the improvements that we have recorded in this off-cycle election.
In this off-cycle election. Okay, let me stay with this off-cycle election. Because, of course, 86%, our data shows that 86% of polling units opened within the 8, the 8 a.m., 9:30.
And that's a pass mark.
No. That's a pass mark. Absolutely good. And they asked me on another station and said, why do I think that is? And I said, for Kogi, I know some of the most hardworking INEC staff that I know personally from the headquarters that were deployed to Kogi to work there as part of their duty, and I know they are excellent people, right? And because I know that she was part of those that went to Kogi, I knew things were going to work well. So I'm not surprised. Imo and Bayelsa, it was a different case. But I don't know those that were deployed. I'm not saying that those ones are not excellent people. I'm just saying the person that I know, right? Now, the thing is this. What I'm simply saying is, when you tell somebody in a climb where people tell you, go to court. Where people okay, so another thing that I'm now finding very disturbing is when the guidelines have not been followed hook, line, sinker, and then you tell somebody and say my role here is just to collate results. Because guess what happened? You will announce a winner. We are in a system where the winner takes all.
Absolutely. So there's also we need to pay attention to the laws guiding INEC. So the coalition is ongoing. There's also a requirement before a leader can be announced. So, for instance, if there are more cancelled votes, than the total number of accredited voters, there are provisions within the law. If the person with the highest number of votes doesn't have the two-thirds spread, there are provisions in the law. So the man was right to have said, my job here is collation. And then before he announces what has been collated, because there are stages to this collation. There is a collation that takes place, there's a counting that takes place at the polling unit. There is what happens at the local government area.
At the ward.
At the wards, the local government, I believe, and then before it comes to the state collation setup. So what is expected that if there are grievances in that process, each party must have evidence. You know, it takes us back to the original result sheets that each party agent is supposed to possess. So I think that political actors shouldn't be in a haste. If there is a guideline, we can return to the National Assembly in the coming years and say that, you know what, let us propose having all of these issues resolved before a winner is announced. But we can't change what has been written as law because of how we feel about the process.
I agree.
And that's why most times you see that, you remember the Orubebe instance where the guy wanted to disrupt everything.
Correct.
You know, but it doesn't matter how you feel. There is a guideline that doesn't respect how you feel or what you think has happened, you know, back at the polling station. But let us talk about what you think must be improved on, you know, in this regard. Because in all honesty, we've seen some improvement on the part of the umpire. You know, however, unfortunately, politicians just remain politicians. I don't think that we're going to expect them to improve. They always find a way to outsmart the system. I mean, think about it. How do you pre-record a result sheet? That is bypassing the entire process. You know, not respecting that people had been on the line, had come out in the morning, not even respecting the beavers, because the idea of the beavers is to ensure that people don't vote if they are not registered to vote. People don't vote if they don't carry the PVC. Now you have gone to alter the figure. What do you think can be done to improve on this process moving forward?
To improve on this process moving forward is, I think it starts from the polling unit. Correct. It starts from the polling unit. Did all the agents of the political parties sign on that document? Again, there is a clause in the Electoral Act that permits for some level of non-adherence to the guidelines. So it's in this way. It says, if there is maybe an error or the guidelines are not followed in certain areas, if the outcome or if that particular, you know, non-compliance, if it's not capable of altering the overall outcome, it does not mean that the process is not credible. It's there.
That's right.
I mean, when we were doing the whole electoral reforms campaign, I raised that up, and I realized that because we're dealing with humans who are imperfect, you can't have a perfect law. So I understand that. However, when we go back through the value chain, from the polling unit, the ward, the LGA, straight to the collation center, the question is, what did the party agent, what was he raising? Is it weighty enough for us to say, you know what, let's pause? Just the same way we go on break.
Because we have to consider the percentage of disruption relative to other places that were peaceful. Absolutely.
So that is what I'm saying. A lot of the people who are even within the value chain of election, do you know that they don't even know what the Electoral Act says? Some of the people that are deployed to work for political parties have not read the Electoral Act. They don't know what their own roles are. So that's a symposium discussion, right? But what I'm now saying is that if we made guidelines to guide our operations, and there are areas that are of importance, I don't think it is wrong for us to say, you know what? Okay, can we just take a 1 hour pause? We will continue the process. Can we just revisit this particular? Of course, you won't do that for everything. How serious these allegations are will determine how you probably want to proceed. For me, I think if we do that, if that becomes part of, because INEC has prerogative, INEC has discretionary powers to oversee the process, the guidelines, how it interprets itself. So I do not think that it's not solvable. It is solvable, and I totally agree with the collation. The returning officer would say, look, my job is to collect. But for you to also understand that those who are bringing concerns, raising them before you, to just bluntly say, well, my job is to collect, and, you know. So again, it talks about reforms.
Indeed.
Right? If you look at what I actually thought was going to happen with the new Electoral Act, which was something we were saying was that all electoral grievances should be resolved before somebody who is declared winner is sworn in.
That's an idea I've also heard quite more often these days. We'll return to that. Let's take a short break and we'll be back with more. Stay with us.